thank you very much for joining me to talk a little bit more about how we are factoring in climate change and some of the risks this poses into our portfolio decision making. So as portfolio managers, this really goes through multiple layers of questions. So the first question is to understand what are the physical risks that we're talking about. Having identified that, we then need to think about how our portfolio companies are exposed to those risks. So we need to map where our portfolio companies have their business operations. But we also need to understand what's actually taking place in these different locations. Some activities are fundamentally more vulnerable to climate change than others. Office workers, as we're currently demonstrating, find it relatively easy to grab a laptop and work from another location, whereas large-scale physical infrastructure can't be moved. What we then also need to understand is how important those risks are from an investment point of view. What we also need to consider are some of the other risks around, more broadly, companies don't work in isolation. So we need to think about some of the risks that might be faced by their supply chains and by their customer bases, because over the coming 20 years or so, the stresses and pressures that will be put on will be greater in some areas than in others. We need to pull all of that together into a single coherent view of how exposed different businesses are. Our view is that from this point, there are a great many risks that are very difficult to accurately forecast. But what we can do is, through an active engagement program with our companies, seek to ensure that they are alert to these challenges and are taking all possible steps to mitigate some of these risks. And that way, we're doing our best to ensure the best long-term and positive outcomes for shareholders. Thank you very much for your time.